In a world where kindness is universally praised, it's hard to imagine that something as inherently good as being nice could ever be the cause of your frustrations. But for many people, an overly accommodating nature becomes their downfall, leading to feelings of being taken for granted, ignored, or undervalued. If you've ever asked yourself why it feels like people don't take you seriously or why your needs always seem to be last on the list, the answer may lie in a common yet often misunderstood trait: being too nice. We're told to be kind, generous, and polite, but seldom are we taught where to draw the line between kindness and people-pleasing. Niceness, at its extreme, can become a problem not only for your relationships with others but also for the relationship you have with yourself. Here are 10 key lessons on why being overly nice can lead to you being ignored, and how to rediscover the balance that allows kindness to coexist with confidence and self-respect. 1. People may take you for granted. It starts innocently enough. You offer to help a friend with a project, cover a colleague's shift, or rearrange your plans to accommodate someone else. You're just trying to be helpful, after all. But as the favors pile up, so does a certain invisible debt that you begin to carry, while those you help continue on blissfully unaware. People tend to take for granted what is always available. It's a simple truth of human nature: when you're always saying yes, others start to assume you'll always be there to help, often without even a thank you. The more you give, the more others expect, and the less they appreciate it. Before long, you're doing things out of habit or obligation, while the people around you have come to view your generosity as the baseline, not a gift. The fix: it's time to step back and reassess where your energy is going. Being helpful is a beautiful trait, but it should be given consciously and selectively. Practice saying no when you need to, and realize that your time and energy are as valuable as anyone else's. By setting boundaries, you remind people that your help is a favor, not a right. 2. Lack of respect. Respect is a two-way street, and the way you treat yourself sends powerful signals to others about how they should treat you. When you're constantly going along with everyone else's plans, deferring your own opinions, or avoiding conflict at all costs, people may begin to lose respect for you. This isn't because they're cruel or uncaring, often it's subconscious. When someone never pushes back or stands up for themselves, it's easy to assume they don't value their own needs and therefore don't need special consideration. Slowly but surely, your voice fades into the background, and people start making decisions without your input because, after all, you always go with the flow, right? The fix: respect yourself first. Start speaking up for your needs and desires, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. When others see that you respect yourself, they'll follow suit. Remember, respect is something you command, not something you beg for. 3. People-pleasing leads to resentment. The compulsion to people-please often stems from a deep-seated fear of conflict or rejection. You think, if I keep everyone happy, no one will have a reason to be mad at me. I'll be liked, and I'll belong. But over time, the toll this takes on you is enormous. By prioritizing everyone else's happiness over your own, you eventually start to resent the very people you're trying to please. People-pleasing is exhausting because it's a never-ending cycle. No matter how much you do, there will always be more demands, more needs to meet, and more people to satisfy. And since you can't please everyone, you're left feeling inadequate and drained. The fix: release the need to please everyone. Accept that not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. What's more important is staying true to yourself. When you stop trying to meet everyone's expectations, you make room for people who appreciate you for who you are, not just what you can do for them. 4. You may lose your authenticity. Over time, the habit of constantly being nice can cause you to lose touch with your own feelings and desires. You might even forget what it is you truly want because you've spent so long accommodating others. Being nice often means suppressing your true thoughts or desires to avoid conflict. You tell yourself it's not worth the hassle, or you convince yourself that your needs don't matter as much as those of others. But in doing so, you lose a part of yourself. Your relationships become hollow because they're not built on mutual honesty, and you begin to feel invisible even in the company of others. The fix: reclaim your authenticity by practicing honesty. This doesn't mean being blunt or unkind, it means sharing your true thoughts and feelings in a way that respects both you and the other person. Authenticity is magnetic, it draws people toward you because it's refreshing and real. 5. Nice can be confused with weak. Kindness should never be mistaken for weakness, but unfortunately, it often is. People may think that if you're always agreeable, you won't stand up for yourself. As a result, they may push your boundaries or try to manipulate you, believing you won't fight back. This dynamic plays out in personal relationships, at work, and even in friendships. If someone believes they can easily sway or control you, they may take advantage of your good nature. Over time, this can lead to power imbalances where your opinions and needs are consistently overlooked. The fix: cultivate assertiveness. Being assertive doesn't mean being aggressive, it means standing firm in your boundaries while maintaining respect for others. Show people that you are kind, but not someone to be pushed around. True strength lies in the ability to be both kind and self-assured. 6. Overgiving can lead to burnout. There's only so much of yourself you can give before you start to burn out. When you're always the one people turn to for help, support, or a listening ear, the emotional and mental strain builds up. The more you give, the less you have for yourself, and eventually, you find yourself exhausted, depleted, and unable to function at your best. Burnout isn't just physical fatigue, it's emotional exhaustion. It's the feeling of being drained, of losing passion for the things you once enjoyed because you've spent so much time catering to others' needs that you have nothing left for yourself. The fix: prioritize self-care. Giving is wonderful, but you can't pour from an empty cup. Make time for yourself, whether that's time to relax, pursue your passions, or simply do nothing. By replenishing your own energy, you'll have more to give in the long run, without feeling depleted. 7. You teach people how to treat you. Every time you say yes when you really want to say no, or every time you ignore your own needs to accommodate someone else's, you're teaching the people around you how to treat you. Over time, this sets a pattern in your relationships. They'll come to expect that you'll always bend, that your needs will always come second. When you constantly put others first, you send the message that your time, energy, and opinions aren't as valuable. People start treating you as a second thought, not because they don't care, but because that's the dynamic you've established. The fix: start teaching people to value you by valuing yourself first. This means asserting your boundaries, voicing your needs, and not being afraid to disappoint others if it means staying true to yourself. People will rise to the expectations you set, but it's up to you to set them. 8. People may think you're not genuine. When you're overly nice, especially in situations where niceness seems out of place, people may start to question your sincerity. If you're always cheerful, agreeable, and never show any frustration or disagreement, others might think you're putting on a facade. We live in a world where authenticity is increasingly valued, and constant niceness can sometimes come off as fake. People don't trust what feels inauthentic, and if your kindness is perceived as a performance, it can actually push people away rather than bring them closer. The fix: balance your kindness with realness. Be kind, but don't be afraid to show other sides of yourself, your frustrations, your disagreements, your true feelings. Genuine connections are built on honesty, not on perpetual pleasantry. 9. It can undermine your self-worth. If you're always giving, without expecting anything in return, it can start to chip away at your sense of self-worth. When you put everyone else's needs ahead of your own, it's easy to start feeling like your own needs don't matter as much, or worse, that you don't deserve to have them met. This can lead to a dangerous cycle of low self-esteem, where you continually give in the hopes of being valued, but because you never ask for anything in return, you never receive the validation or appreciation you crave. The fix: acknowledge your worth. Recognize that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable, and that you deserve to have your needs met just as much as anyone else. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need, and know that you are worthy of receiving it. 10. Not all conflicts are bad. Many overly nice people avoid conflict like the plague, believing that any disagreement is a sign of failure or disconnection. But in reality, conflict is a natural part of human interaction, and avoiding it at all costs often leads to suppressed feelings, unspoken frustrations, and ultimately, resentment. Healthy conflict is a necessary part of growth, both in relationships and within yourself. When handled with respect and care, conflict can lead to deeper understanding, stronger connections, and greater mutual respect. The fix: embrace healthy conflict. Instead of avoiding disagreements, lean into them with an open mind and a calm demeanor. Focus on finding solutions rather than winning the argument, and recognize that sometimes, standing your ground is the most respectful thing you can do for both yourself and the other person. Conclusion: the balance between kindness and self-respect. Kindness is a beautiful quality, but it shouldn't come at the cost of your self-respect or well-being. By finding the balance between being nice and standing up for yourself, you create healthier, more fulfilling relationships where you are valued not just for your niceness, but for the whole of who you are. The key is to give, but not at the expense of your own needs, to be kind, but also to be firm in your boundaries, to offer support, but not to the point of losing yourself in the process. Remember, the goal isn't to stop being nice. The world needs more kindness. But it also needs people who know their worth, who aren't afraid to assert their boundaries, and who value themselves as much as they value others. Kindness without boundaries is not true kindness, it's self-sacrifice. And you, too, deserve to receive the same care and respect that you so generously give to others.